we have a guest that needs no introduction, but we bugged him for a bio anyway. As the owner of the rarest CryptoPunk, which has uniquely 7 attributes, he is also an early crypto investor, DJ, and builder who is seen as a manifestation of today's fringe culture, exploring the relationship of digital and in real life identity. Along with debuting his first dance single, Angels, in the summer of 2023, Seedphrase also frequents fashion events and is deeply involved in the art world through his extensive Gen Art collection. This has positioned him as a punk of taste and culture. Everyone, please give a warm welcome to Seedphrase! There he is. What up, buddy? What up, buddy? Also on this panel, we have Punk1111, who began his crypto journey in 2011 when Bitcoin was in single digits. He considers himself a blockchain historian, building a collection of historically relevant and culturally significant NFTs from the dawn of the digital asset revolution. Prominent show co-host, former Art Block's curation board member, and total punk DJ. Everyone give it up for Von Mises! How we doing, guys?
Good. Doing great, thanks, Mike.
Amazing, amazing.
I couldn't make it. I wish I could be there.
I wish you could too, buddy. So first off, how did you first get involved with CryptoPunks, Seedphrase?
Look, it started in 2017. I rode the ICO bubble, peak euphoria, very similar to like what happened in 2021. CryptoKitties and CryptoPunks, both, came, up front, on my desk, and I was trying to figure out like what are these things, right? And at the time, the market was very frothy. There's a lot of scams going around, and I actually dismissed them as a scam. I thought like, it's just like some Lava Labs group trying to like take my money. So I didn't pay any attention to them until, late 2018, early 2019. When I really started to dive back into NFTs and actually started to understand, the significance of them, the importance, of a verifiably like online identity. I watched them for a few months. I was stalking the Discord, and I just really loved the community at the time. These were the people who were the movers and shakers of the space. They really understood the key metrics that we, all love today as well. And, I think like over the 2 or 3 months ago I was watching them, the floor price was exploding on them. They were going from like 0.3 or 0.4 to maybe like 0.6 or 0.7. And, I just had to dive in. So eventually by April, May, that's when I started collecting my bag.
So on Mises, how did you get involved?
So, having been involved in crypto since 2011, having collected things my whole life, when I got to CryptoPunks, I kind of knew what I was looking at. It was one of the most interesting and compelling collectibles I've ever seen. Again, it combined 3 things that I was very passionate about: collecting, crypto, and trading, and I knew I was like immediately, I'm like, this is for me. So, my first 30 days in CryptoPunks, I bought 60 CryptoPunks and knew this was going to be a very, very rewarding experience. I didn't know it was going to be quite this rewarding and have the effect it had, but that's how I got into it.
For sure. So Seedphrase, when you bought that 7 trade, was that the first one that you bought, or did you buy a bunch and then buy that one?
I bought a bunch, and not just floors, but like, punks that were aesthetically pleasing, that were clean. I didn't like it when trades were overlapping in some way. One business can, say this year as well, I was bugging the Discord, like at the time, the CryptoPunks website, they didn't actually show how many each punks, like, how many attributes they had. And, I kept asking the community, what's the rarest CryptoPunk? What's the rarest CryptoPunk? And everyone kept coming back to me with 8348. It's the only CryptoPunk with 7 attributes. And thankfully, I knew the owner from back in the Bitcoin days. I was also very, very early to crypto, and BitcoinTalk.org and everything as well. So I reached out to him and managed to broker, at the time was a record-breaking deal, right? It was $18,000. This was May 20th of 2020. And at the time it was an all-time high, but in my mind I was thinking like, this is such a significant punk, and I just had to have it. I'm an all or nothing guy. I'm a big collector as well, and I really wanted to get what I consider to be one of the best.
I just want to make a note. I just want to add that at the time, literally everyone in Discord thought he was crazy. Insane.
Yes.
Literally. They were like, this guy is the dumbest guy who ever come to the CryptoPunks Discord. We're going to dump everything we can on him. It's very funny.
I remember Alex actually telling me like we had like a private chat or something, and like everyone was like bitching about all of my purchases because I was the only fool to be spending like 80 plus ETH on these things. In the past it was like I think the max sale was like 35 to 40 ETH. So yeah, no, I thought that was a pretty funny point as well to say.
That is hilarious. That is so funny. Do you guys have any strategies for sort of collecting punks for people who are looking to get into it but maybe don't know where to start? Von Mises?
Yeah, I mean, look, when Seedphrase and I were collecting, it was more about trying to build collections. There was plenty of people trying to put together, full sets and go after, one of each type. And so a lot of the rarity aspect of punks really played a very big role, but as the prices have gone up, it's been a lot more about eye appeal and people finding something that they vibe with because, when you're spending 6 figures on a punk, you kind of want something that, you can vibe with and will be, the right type of digital representation. When you can buy 20 or 30, it's different. When you can only get 1 or 2, people are a lot more selective and focus more on eye appeal, and avatar worthiness goes way up in value. So I would just say buy something that you really vibe with and like, and that you're going to have for a long time. Because having one punk is almost the same as having none, but you can't sell your last punk. That's the way it is.
Yeah, that makes sense. What do you think, Seedphrase? Any tips? What's the alpha? Give us some hot alpha.
Look, I think most people know this, but punks that are aesthetically pleasing, punks that are clean, I find that they do a lot better than punks that have like squiggly hair and spots and butt teeth.
Ooh, shots fired. Shots fired.
I didn't get all the squiggly hairs off in the office.
Okay, everybody with the squiggly hair punk, get the fuck out of here. Seedphrase. This is not me, this is Seedphrase.
I'm gonna get canceled after this. Why did I agree to it? No, but it sucks, right? Everyone is looking for a clean punk, something that like represents them, right? Like whether that looks like them or something that they aspire to, or something very relatable to the brand that they're pushing. At the end of the day, like this is your online identity, right? And I think looking at the field of PFPs today, I think it's undeniable to say that CryptoPunks are really what is going to be taking us to another level.
For sure, for sure. Is there any overall trait that you guys have as the top tier right now? What are we like in trait-wise? Danny?
I'm kind
I'm personally, obviously a big Top Hat fan. I think they're really nice. I also was speaking to a few people earlier today actually that there's some very unique female traits that you don't get on the males, such as like Tiara, I really like. I think these have to be high up there for me.
Yeah, I'm a Danny praise. I like Tiara's pilot helmets. I also think that right now zombies are a little on the cheap side only because they're like the floor of the elite level, and there's a big enough cohort with 88 of them that you get some liquidity. When you get into the higher tier above that, like they trade so infrequently that it's hard to really have any kind of it's hard to trade it. So it's like the floor of the elite class is zombie, and that's kind of a good place to be also. Obviously not cheap.
Sure, no, not cheap, that is true. So you guys have been around the community for quite a while. How have you kind of seen it evolve over time since you guys, you know, first started to sort of how you see it now? Seedphrase.
Yeah, look, like, you know, obviously the community has changed a lot, you know, over the years. You know, you've seen that in Discord, even on Twitter. You know, there's a lot more validation these days. You know, back in the day, like, we were all just, I guess, like a bunch of misfits, you know, risk takers. We didn't really know where this was going to go. You know, our, you know, big sort of like aspiration, or, you know, shots and stars was like thinking that this could potentially one day be, you know, in museums, you know, Christie's, Sotheby's, in like maybe a decade, right? We had no idea that that was just around the corner. But, you know, like looking at the punks and the community, you know, you really do have so many respectable people involved. You have a really like elevated group, and, you know, I think, you know, punks do have like this like a particular taste, and then you want to be able to show that online. And I think, you know, that is the, you know, the biggest difference now is, you know, we've gone from a bunch of misfits to, you know, something that actually, like, you know, is validated and actually, like, you know, is represented by something much more than that.
Yeah, I would say that in the early days, the punk Discord was an incredible place for outlet. There was like 30 of us there that were all just nerding out about CryptoPunks and sharing ideas. It's where I ended up meeting Snowfro, learning about art blocks. Like, you know, basically imagine like Eric's telling you in a conversation, hey, I'm starting this new platform called art blocks, and we should get involved. Like, that's the place of it. Like, you would get information like that, and just, you know, now it's evolved to where like people like myself and Seedphrase and Eric, we're barely in the Discord anymore because it's changed so much. So that's one of the downsides of it. But, you know, obviously having the community grow and seeing the people in the street, it's been amazing to watch. It's just some of the pureness of the early days has left the scene. So I regret for that, but I'm happy to see it evolve.
Awesome, amazing. Well, we are about out of time here. Thank you guys so much for coming. Seedphrase and Bomb Mises!